Hello, friends. I'm DJ Lance Rock, and I have to say, Rock and Roll Grad School is awesome!
This is Rock and Roll Grad School with your hosts, Heidi Hedquist and Luke Poling. It's their party, and they'll cry if they want to.
Here's my question. I was spending a lot of time with this the past few days. And you had dental work in the 80s, so you're familiar with the oeuvre of Billy Ocean.
Yes.
Do you think in this day and age we would be able to get away with calling someone a lady driver? Immediately followed by a reference into them touching his bumper.
Well, I feel people do often call people lady drivers.
Well, not in so many words.
Right. Probably not.
I just had sort of like this flash. You ever one of those things when like some portal in your brain just opens and all of the stuff you completely put away for decades comes up?
Mm-hmm.
For some people, it's other things about where money's hidden. For me, it's the entire lyrics and video for Get Out of My Dreams Into My Car.
Yeah.
Did that take place in a car wash? So it didn't look as much like he was soliciting women? I'm trying to remember.
I know. Well, and it is sort of a very disturbing statement.
Sort of?
I don't know. I was always when the going gets tough, the tough get going kind of girl.
Okay. All right.
Because, Romancing the Stone and Jewel of the Nile were excellent films.
No, true. I'm more of a Romancing the Stone.
Well, of course,
myself.
it is the better of the two. But
have you read the story about the woman who wrote that?
I have.
It's
yes.
amazing. I think it was just in something. It's an amazing,
It's yes.
Amazing and sad at the same time in equal measures. But yeah, what was the line? So at some point, putting the children to bed, what comes into my head is the get in the back seat, that part, right?
Yes.
Was it just the 80s? Again, it was a simpler time when we were able to just turn to backup singers and say, I don't know, maybe just beep, beep, yeah. Is that okay? Can you do that?
Well, beep, beep, yeah. I mean, the Beatles used that.
To drive my car. I know, but
Which is why I hated that song until I actually heard the full lyrics.
Oh, interesting.
Because they used to use it on the oldie station for traffic, and it annoyed me.
Oof, yeah, that's not good.
And I told you the story, and I was like, that's the worst. Really?
Yeah.
I used to listen to the oldie station when I got ready for school.
Sure.
Because I was cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I was, because I learned all kinds of really great music, except I thought that's all I knew of Baby You Can Drive My Car. It just wasn't a Beatles song. I knew lots of other Beatles songs. And so I always hated that song because of that, because every 15 minutes you'd hear beep, 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 yeah. And it was really obnoxious. Well, then, a few years ago, not that many years ago, Dave goes, what do you mean you hate Baby You Can Drive My Car? And I said, it's terrible. And he's like, that's your favorite song. That song is literally you. That song is you, Heidi. I'm like, what? And then I listened to the lyrics of the actual verse, and I'm like, this is the greatest song of all time. I love this song. This is absolutely what I would sing to someone. It is now one of my favorite songs.
Do you know what the original lyrics were? Which makes it all the more, I feel like, appropriate for you.
Yes, what?
It was supposed to be, baby, I can give you diamonds.
Oh, no, I don't like diamonds.
And the story goes, like, Lennon sitting in the corner. I just imagine plucking away at something. He just goes, drive my car. And McCartney's like, oh, that's better. Yeah, let's use that.
Drive My Car is way better. I don't like
Yeah.
jewelry.
Fair. Hello, kiddies. We are going to have a good time together. We have Nick Sabia on the show today. And here's one of the things I like about this interview.
Mhm.
We talk at the end of the interview about a song that he wrote.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. And that song that he wrote that he told us about happens to be the new single that just came out.
Well, look at that.
So I don't want to drop names, but remember when John Doe from X told us we like the deep end?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
And yes, he did.
So this interview goes into a little bit of the writing of that song and how he put it together. So we have that, which is kind of fun. In update news, friend of the show, Betty Levette, who was on in February, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
She just announced, now I'm not saying that all this good news for all our various guests happened because they did the show. I'm just saying it did happen after they did the show. So
It did.
yeah,
And her news happens like after you hung out with her,
this is true. Yes. We formed a band together.
had a love affair.
Yep. So Betty is opening this summer in July for the, I hope I'm saying it right, Rolling Stones.
Yes.
Yes. In Chicago,
Yes.
which she described as the biggest audience who has no idea who I am.
Yes.
But in many ways, I feel like all the more they are in for a treat.
Yeah,
So that's kind of fun.
that's very fun.
And then this is not, I guess, future guest of the show, I think. Hopefully, we'll just put it out there in the ether.
Yes.
Redd Kross
Yes.
has announced there's a lot going on. There's a documentary, there is a memoir,
Yes.
and then there is a double album. The double album comes out in June.
Yes.
And have you seen the cover?
Not yet.
Okay, because I was wondering, it looks really familiar. Do you know any other bands that have a self-titled record with just one solid color on the front of it?
There are a few.
I'm sure it will come to me. But
There are several few.
there are several few. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for that. But here's something that's interesting. I don't know.
Which Dave, by the way, is every 5 minutes calling me with various routes we should go to get Redd Kross to be on the show. So this is his new personal quest for
Okay,
us.
that works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one for him. What harmonica player plays on the Thin Lizzy live album?
Stevie Wonder.
Nope. That would be bluesy Huey Lewis.
Oh, I should have known that
I
because
know.
I love Huey Lewis.
Exactly. So here's what I wanted to go over because I don't know if you saw this. You sent me the Redd Kross news, which I appreciate greatly. Did you read the bio on their page?
Recently, no.
Yes. Okay. So
I have in the past.
Right. Oh no, this is new. This is great. So Dale Crover from the Melvins, who played on Beyond the Door, was supposed to produce this record. He had just undergone spinal surgery, so he didn't. So Stephen McDonald reached out to his friend Josh Klinghoffer.
Yes, which is one of the routes that Dave feels we should go and is not satisfied with why we have not had him on our show yet.
So here's the thing I wanted to go over here. Josh Klinghoffer, perhaps known for his years as guitarist with the Red Hot Chili Peppers and as a touring member of Pearl Jam and Jane's Addiction.
Yes.
But hereafter to be most famed as the drummer and producer for Redd Kross. Yes. Now, here's the part that I did not know, and I have so many questions.
Yes.
Referring to Stephen McDonald and Josh Klinghoffer, the pair first met 2 decades ago as members of Beck's backing band and later played together with the inimitable Sparks.
What?
Yes.
How did we not know this?
This is what I'm saying. And then I also just noticed, and this is how we can wrap everything up with a bow, in A Clockwork Orange, when Alex goes to the record store And you probably remember there is a copy of Atom Heart Mother, the Pink Floyd record up on the wall.
Mhm,
There is the 2001 soundtrack. And
mhm.
on the little multicolored panel of the top 10 artists, you know who's listed there?
Sparks.
The Sparks.
We knew that.
Did we?
Yeah,
Okay, well, it's not as great as a rapper as I thought it was going to be.
it's okay.
Yeah, thought it was going to be an episode bow.
We knew that. I think we knew that from the documentary, but we did know that. One of us knew that.
Cool. Yeah, I guess.
I think we
Yeah.
both knew that.
Yeah, maybe we did. Maybe we did.
I'm dreaming of the time we turn the page, believing that we find some better days. I got a lot of living left to do. I'm gleaming from some better ways. Those waters do alleviate tomorrow. Waiting on you. Well, come on, child, and let the light in. Go on down to the creek. I got a gold song that keeps on rising. Come on down to me. Just let it show, child, and let the light in. Go on down to the creek. I got a gold song that keeps on rising. Come on down to me.
So I was listening to Chattanooga. Part of me wants to just, as a wise ass, go, "What's that about?" But
They should say,
sound of
pardon me,
it-
boy.
what'd you say?
They shouldn't say, pardon me, boy, which is
Mm.
where I thought you were going to be a wise ass.
There's so many different places.
I know.
But like knowing your work both as an engineer and then as a singer and a songwriter, music is sort of constantly around you. You're sort of immersed in it. Are you always writing? Are you always working on
Yeah.
the next thing?
Yeah, like I wrote a song yesterday, and then I wrote four things the day before that. Actually, it was a really productive day. So yeah, I mean this week alone I've probably written I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 ideas, maybe.
So you're making us all look bad,
Yeah.
basically.
Well, you know, it's just I don't know. I mean, I will say they're not all fully fleshed out ideas. A few of them are more like done already and like pretty in the bag, but half of them aren't. Like a lot of the times I'll just kind of get the essence of like as I'm in the feeling of it, I'll just get as much of it as I can out real quick. And then I'll usually just move past it because I'm gonna do it again in like 5 hours or whenever I'm feeling it again. And then it really is just up to me to like go back. The hard part's going back in time and then listening to the things that are just kind of like spilling out of me and organizing it and figuring out which one seems to matter more and why and like what you know what I mean. It's just like because it is a lot. There's a lot like that tends to come out, and so it's really just me trying to piece together like which ones matter, I guess. To me,
So it's turning on the tap, and then later on you try to sort
Exactly.
the molecules.
Yeah, the tap. Yeah, you know that I love the tap analogy. 100%. Yeah.
Do you feel like you have to do that on a daily basis, or is that just sort of a natural? Because some people write every day, others when there's a record that
Yeah.
needs to be made.
I don't hate on myself if I don't do it on a day, but I do if I don't create for a couple days, I feel weird. You know, I definitely do feel off, and it's definitely something I do for therapy more than anything, honestly. It's really like my journal and the way I kind of just organize myself and my feelings and my thoughts and things. And I feel like if I'm not doing it consistently, I just can tell that I'm off. You know, I can tell within a few days that I'm off. And so it's really just about keeping me balanced as like a psyche and person and things and emotionally and all that. And as long as I'm like in the pocket of it, I'm feeling really good, you know, because I get that high off of like making something and listening to it, showing a friend what do you think, and I just I love it, but I don't like whip myself if I don't write every day or something like that, you know, like I'm conscious about purposefully giving yourself space also to like let the well fill back up of inspiration and things, and so if I don't write it's all good. But yeah, I do tend to wake up every day like just feeling like a mission, I guess. Like I feel like a calling on my life a little and like a mission to it. And it yeah, I can't stop. I don't know.
That's awesome.
I haven't stopped in literally 7 years. I don't know, like 8 years maybe. So it's been a good life, but it's been weird. It's, it's a different thing every day, like just being creative and, it gets to be a lot of like, people say they have like their songs like a baby to them or whatever. Like you end up having like 1,000 kids, and you're like, it's great, but it's also like, what do I do with all of these?
Kids.
And which ones matter? Yeah, which ones matter? And also, I'm making more kids today and tomorrow. So it's like, it just becomes a lot to juggle, but it's a good problem to have, and it's a blessing either way. And I'm like, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, I love like, I just love music and like the art, like the act of art. Just like the actual act of what art is, and like trying to find like truth. It's like trying to find authenticity and truth like within my observations and within myself, of like that I can believe in like 10 years down the road, and not just like right now either. Like I'm kind of big on messages, and I want to make sure that like 10 years later, like I still can listen back, and I feel like those messages are universal and timeless, and like that's my goal, I think.
Do you ever find yourself going back to something, to a kid that you sort of shelved years ago, and
Heidi,
then
we
you
love
pull?
all children. They're all beautiful.
I know we do. We love them all, but this one just was, grounded for a while. They were just like grounded, and then you go, at the time you're like, I don't know what I was even talking about, and then you pull it out and you go, oh, this makes so much sense now, and I was way ahead of my time way back then, and I had no idea that I knew what I was talking about.
It's kind of like years later you can kind of artistic license, like justify lyrics and justify things, and like sometimes like, yeah, I will be writing and I won't necessarily feel it as much, but like you said, years later, like I'll discover it again. Like the other day I found a song from 2020 that I wrote, that I'm like, how did I let this like slip through the cracks? Like this is one of my best choruses I've ever written in my life. And so I have to record that now. That's on the plate for like next week. I gotta try to like focus some energy on that. But
I love how that comes out. Just the way you said that was just like, and then I got to deal with this thing and this greatest chorus I ever wrote.
This amazing thing I created.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't mean to go off like that.
No, it's just right.
It's definitely yeah. I mean, it's a beautiful responsibility, but it still is a responsibility.
Of course.
At least a self responsibility. Like I feel the self pressure, self responsibility of like seeing these truths to life and like finding a home for them and like getting them in the world, because they deserve it, and like it feels like they deserve it. And so yeah, I definitely, I remember years ago, I've gotten more unattached now, but years ago I was very attached to everything I did, and there were times I would kind of cry, honestly, like thinking about how much is lost, like how many truths that I may have found, or how many things that I may have connected to that in the moment made me feel like a lot on my chest, and a lot of real things. But then just because of the sake of how like the logistics of recording and putting things out, like if you're writing at that rate and you're doing things at that rate, but you're putting a song, like the way it goes, then you can never catch up to yourself. And so I had to really come to terms with myself years ago of like not all this is gonna really see the light of day, and that's fine. Like, because at the end of the day, like it is for me, like it is for me to like love. Oh, sorry, someone's doing what is that? Sorry, someone's outside blowing. Anyways, but basically, yeah, I just I had to get over that and kind of like unattached. I still am very attached to everything I do, and it's still very personal, but like as soon as I'm done with it, I kind of have to unattach myself to it. Otherwise, like it'll just freak me out, like just how much is like left on the table, if you will. So yeah, there's a lot on the table, but it's a good thing to have. I'm not complaining. I just it's just a lot of work. That's
kind of making peace with the Faulkner kill your darlings kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know. I just have to like keep writing anyways, you know? And so it's like that's the hard part is that it does seem like this year, like the things I've written in the past couple months. I mean, hopefully we're all just getting better at what we do, you know? And so it's
Mhm.
like things in the past couple months definitely have been seeming like on a different level than before. And so, but it's hard because everything means something to me. Like it all means something, but it's definitely like, it's really, that's why it's cool. Like when you have um, artists that are writing a lot of songs, like when they do pick a song to put out, um, like they could have picked any song, you know what I mean? They could have picked any of the hundreds of songs that they have or whatever. And so it gives like more meaning, I feel like, to the song you put out whenever you have like so many songs because you're really going like, all right, which one like really is with me right now and is who I am right now and will be easy to like embody and be proud of. And you know, it's kind of cool. I like having it. It's a good problem to have, but it definitely still is that burden and responsibility of like, all right, I need to get all this stuff done. And also it's a lot emotionally to go through as a person, you know, because I
Mhm.
also have to like I can't just like personify it. I have to like try to mean it, you know? And so in order to mean some of the things I'm saying, if I'm talking about deeper truths and or darker truths or whatever, like it can be kind of just a lot to go through, especially if you're doing it on a daily basis because you are kind of like tearing yourself apart a little bit to get
Mhm.
to the goods, to get to the goods.
Right.
Yeah.
And it can get tiring. Like the other day, I took a day off yesterday because the day before I did 4 songs and I was going for like 7 8 hours and my back was hurting. I woke up the next day. I came home. My girlfriend could tell I was so out of it because I was in space for like 8 hours in my head. And so I come home, it's like socializing's different those days because like I was out of it all day. And then the next day, it's like I can go back and tear it up again, or I just like give myself space. And so like that's what I've been trying to balance lately is like allowing myself time off to have the space to then go like explode, you know?
And the way music has changed in, I mean, I guess the past decade, but for artists like yourself, there is the democratization that you can put out anything you want whenever you want, and you see bands and musicians putting out 4 records a year. Just the Mac
Yeah.
DeMarco, like, yeah, here we go. Here's 4 albums, or
Yeah.
your King Gizzard, which is
Yeah.
super
For sure.
like. But in putting out Chattanooga, and then before that, Deep South, was that the order right, or are they reversed?
No. Well, Down South was the
Down
latest
South.
one. Chattanooga came out a few months before Down South. Yeah. And then before that, before Chattanooga was the album that I had done like a year before that or
Hmm.
something.
But all of that with the productivity, uh, is it easier or harder that you can just record a song and put it out now in a day or two? Like picking which ones you really focus in on and hone on it and polish to that sheen you need to hand it
I
out to
think it
folks.
depends if you're I mean, I think it would be really freeing, honestly, as a creative and as an artist to really just throw it out there once you're done, like as soon as you're done. Like it does sound really freeing. I think what ends up happening is just like Mac DeMarco was already Mac DeMarco whenever he dropped
Fair.
all that, you know. And so really
Right.
it's like that's my issue is that if I become Nick Sabia, like Mac DeMarco is or whatever,
Hmm.
then sure, like I'll give you. I mean, I'll drop like 7 albums if you want, you know, or whatever. But it's like you know, it's
You'll
just like
Ryan
there's
Adams
no,
us all to, yeah.
yeah, like
Right.
logistically speaking, it just doesn't like add up to me at this stage to like do that because you need to like, I don't know. I just feel like the people that are doing that like already have their audience to an extent, and they're growing still, but like they have like
Hmm.
more establishment to stand on when they do that. But that has been somewhat of a dream and fantasy of mine is just kind of like relinquishing like control, I guess, control over like results or something. I don't know what it's
Yeah.
just, you know, and just being like, oh yeah,
Okay.
like here's I would like I because I've been holding this one EP for like 3 years and it's called The Road, and I basically have been just kind of like hanging on because I've been having that kind of control thing of like, why I want this to do well. Like I'm gonna wait until it's like for sure gonna, you know, and it's my own like mental blocks and stuff. And that's why I did the album and things, and that's why I started doing Chattanooga Down South, the different stuff, because I was finally getting over my mental block. Because for years I really did have a mental block of like I don't know if it's perfectionism or what, but it was just like something was hardcore stopping me, and it was super dumb. And it took years for me to finally just be like, I don't care. Like, I just don't care. Like, I'll put it out. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. I didn't make it for you. I made it for me. I hope you
Mhm.
enjoy it. Like getting into that right mind frame for like being more of a purist with music and things has helped me. But I definitely want to one day like drop just a bunch of music. It'd be really cool. Just
Mhm.
be like, just here. There's like 100 songs, or
Little.
here's like 80 songs or something. It'd be really
Here's my
fun.
all things must pass.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would be cool. I don't foresee it right now. I'm gonna be doing like a single every month or whatever.
Yeah, but at some point you're just going to have to do it because and I'm terrible at math, but even with my bad math skills, the rate at which you're writing,
yeah.
you're just going to there's just going to come a day where you're
Yeah.
just going to have to do
Yeah, I really will, yeah. Pretty
it.
much. But for now I'm gonna just try to like I guess it's like getting people's attention's tough, obviously, in today's world. It's like that's what everyone's fighting for.
Right.
So it's like I guess if I had a little bit more attention, I guess I would have more reason to pump that much at people and stuff. But um yeah, I don't mind having like a back catalog of all unreleased things either, because it's just nice to like be able to like draw. And if I don't want to write for a year or 5 years, like
Right. Yeah.
technically I have
Like, I'm
like
good.
20 years worth of stuff to work on already. So it's like I don't really have to write again, which is nice. But I have to. It's like I don't have to, but I have to, like in
Right.
order to be happy or whatever.
Well, with that,
um
you said you have this EP that you're kind of waiting for the right time. Do you ever just reach a point of being like, well, I've moved past that? Like how
I'm I am starting to get that's what's scaring me, is like as it's getting farther away from me, the songs still ring true, and the songs still to me are bangers. Like I love all the stuff, but
you wouldn't put it out or want to put it out if it was
You wouldn't be so
if it
protective
sucked.
about putting it
yeah,
out.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
I mean I'm really like, and it was really what it is at the time it was right when COVID happened, and I think a lot of us were obviously like challenged with ourselves a little bit during that time. And then also that was me finally like deciding to be an artist, because for years people wanted me to be an artist and like, you're an artist, dude. Like, but I was just doing stuff for other people. I didn't really want to do it. Um, and around that time, I finally like took it way more seriously and took, I guess, like my journey more seriously, my like path and things. And so like the reason that it means so much to me is because I really was kind of like becoming who I am today through the process of like making that album and dealing with some of the truths I had to deal with, were really like kind of molding me and forming me into like where my morals are and where my values are going to be. And like where I was really like, because I was like 25 too. And I feel like around 25 is when you're really like being more existential and being more like, I don't know, like, and
We
I
were just
think,
talking about this with ages and how
oh,
like
really?
Yeah.
just the idea of like, could I have done this 5 years ago, 10 years ago? And without fail, the answer is like, no, I couldn't have. I needed that time to get, to get to here.
Yeah.
So I completely get that question,
Yeah.
that issue of like, am I the same person I was?
Yeah. And I mean, I definitely like still agree with everything I said in the album. And but really what it is just all the other songs tend to take precedence, I guess, because they're newer and they're more like in vein of what I am right now and things. But and those, at the end of the day, those do still need to be mixed a little better. So I think that's part of it. It was never fully stamped. It was like 98% there, but I was like, realistically, could have a better mix. I was being perfectionist,
I was gonna say, says the guy who's like, I'm trying not to be a perfectionist.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. I
98%.
mean, basically, like that's part of it too. Is I am being a perfectionist. I'm like, these could still sound like, I love what's in there. I don't want to change anything that's there, but it should sound a little sonically better, probably a little better mixing. So like, I do have to do all that stuff, but it's the problem with that EP is it's 5 genres, and it's every song's a different genre, and it's like, but it makes sense together. Like if you look at it as an art piece, like it all, and what I'm saying message wise lines up, and it's about polarity, and there's all these themes in it and stuff. So it all like checks out, but it's definitely like from a marketing standpoint was a really back then, especially, and it still is. It's just a challenge, you know. It's just a
Yeah.
challenge to try to figure out because everyone wants like a digestible thing to see, and it's people don't like. I guess people just don't like when there's so much different stuff going on. And so I think that was a big part of it too, is back then I was told a lot to like that I had to be one thing and one sound and one whatever, and that you can't do 5 genres of a thing or whatever. And so like I also let that get to me, I think, um and just the fear of like the unknown of like trying to be an artist that's going from like a Porter Robinson like drop to like I did like a spoken word rap thing with like a saxophone piano thing, and then like a Phil Collins type of song, and then on one, you know, it's just like it's a lot to try to like show in a packaged way, like appropriately, I guess. And so I think that also stalled me out there. But I also agree, like it is good to have digestible like artists that are like doing a similar thing and you can understand like things easier. And so that's where I'm at right now with like the next song's Back East, which is more like the Chattanooga stuff. And then I'm basically just sticking to Americana, the Americana kind of country-ish. It's not really country, but I'm from the South, you know, like I have some roots there. So like I was kind of sticking to the roots there, but it's not hardcore country. I just call it Americana or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what's the next thing you've got coming out?
The next thing is Back East, which is April 24th, is when I'm releasing that one. And I just got that one mixed actually speaking of mixing, it was actually important, the mixing, because I got it mixed at Studio 606. I was fortunate enough to get in there, which is Dave Grohl's like personal studio and everything. And so I was in there, and I basically am starting to work with those guys, which is really like a blessing and honor. And pretty much the mix turned out way better than my mix. I mean, my mix I A-B'd it after, was like, this is horrible. Like my mix is horrible. So it's definitely worth getting mixed, worth taking the time and money to like get it to those places. But yeah, that's the next one, is Back East, and it actually was a demo that I wrote December 31st of last year, like New Year's Eve. And it was basically after going to Trader Joe's and Target. It was like super hectic. I thought it was gonna be died down because like, oh, we're past the holidays, like
Right.
Yeah.
chill. It was worse. I was so much worse.
Always.
And I was like, what is going on? And I found myself in the parking lot just like, what am I doing here? Like sometimes you just have that feeling of like you can technically change your life up. Like you can just walk away or you can go do anything else and like no one's gonna stop you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's like the root of the feeling I had. I was waiting in line and the line came to me, I'd rather wade in the river than wait in line. And
like
that kind of spurred the whole song really, was that sentence. Because sometimes I hear a sentence and like as soon as I heard that sentence, I heard, I'd rather wait in the river than wait in line. Like I just heard it as soon as I said the sentence. And so as soon as I can hear that melody, then it kind of already implies what the chords are, and it kind of implies all these things. And so I basically went home and wrote it in like 30 minutes. And then the next day I recorded it at my studio as a demo just to kind of share and get out of me and show some people. And my team ended up really liking it and basically just saying, hey, don't produce this more like this. You captured something here. Like this was something raw and real, and like we should just get it mixed. And other than that, like put it out just as is. And so this is the next song. It's the only song I've ever put out that is it really was intentionally a demo. Like it really intentionally was not meant to be put out, you know?
It takes 15 minutes just to park the car, dodging all the traffic and the credit cards. Life's too fast for such a rush, run around town with your britches in a bunch. I'd rather wait in the river than wait in line. There's a flight to catch to leave it all behind and go out past that horizon line, see a sunset countryside.
Back East, the new song by Nick Sabia, is available right now wherever you get music. For more information, you can find him on Instagram, where he is at Nick Sabia, and you can check out his website, nicksabia.com.
You can check us out on all the various socials. Be sure to visit our website at rockandrollgradschool.com, and don't forget to leave us a review.
Today's show is produced by myself and Heidi Hedquist. Our reluctant producers are John Sauvé and Sandy Stone. Our willing producers are Rachel Allen and Randy Jeanette. Our intern is Zach Jackson. This one's for Philippe. Thank you, good night, and may all your favorite bands stay together.
I'll make it back, but I'm not sure how.